That, hey, I got this kid. His name is Rick James. Can he please come? And can we sign this guy?
You gotta be kidding me.
I'm not kidding you. My brother do. My brother says, okay, I want to start out. He started out as a pararescue in the Air Force. All right,
Right.
I've done that. I've hit that success. Now let me go be a SEAL. I've done that. I hit that success. Now let me go be a Ranger. He is the only person in military history to graduate each of those schools. It's because he takes risks. The only way you could be an entrepreneur is through risk. Okay. And that's how we were raised. My grandfather, our father was born in 1934. So it was like, if you hurt yourself, you got to get up. And so if you get hurt, too bad. Don't cry, wipe it up, keep on going. Cry, go. My father used to say, if you got to cry, go somewhere and sit in a corner by yourself and then come back when you wipe your tears off. That's what he'd tell you. And so my father was a massive entrepreneur. He went out, he had a 10th grade education and he started driving Coca-Cola trucks. So he started back in Buffalo driving Coca-Cola trucks. And back then for distributors, you can actually, instead of just having a route, you could buy a truck. So what he did, this man came up to my dad and said, "Hey, I'm a musician. I just got back to the United States because he ran away from the Vietnam War." Right?
All right, guys, welcome back. Another episode of Moguls in the Making. I'm your host, Catch a Bag. Oh, you know me.
Yes, sir. And I'm your host, Tyrone Johnson, aka Geechee, aka I'm back.
AKA Mr. Do It to him. I'm about to add to
I
now.
know y'all see I had to add it on to the name tag. I know y'all get tired of me on here saying AKA this, AKA that. But man, I got a lot of names. I wear a lot of hats, so I got to do what I got to do.
Well, we got a special guest in the house today. We got Trunis Goggins, man, joining us all the way from North Carolina today. And yeah, we're gonna unpack some stuff because this is gonna be kind of a quick episode, but definitely a good one. So make sure that you stick around. So Trunis, man, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. Appreciate you hopping in here with us to have a episode that I think our viewers will be able to take some stuff from. Obviously, it is a entrepreneur channel. It's called Moguls in the Making, and that's who our audience are. It's Moguls in the Making, trying to prepare for being able to create a life of ownership and accountability, and men really just taking care of business. That's
Right.
that's regardless what we do. And we actually connected because Jonas, we called you up out the blue, right? Trying to buy your house, basically.
Right. Can't wait till that thing can go. Absolutely.
So we just kind of connected on that, and then you and Tyrone got a good relationship, and then it was you and Mason
It
actually.
was him and Mason.
Right.
Yeah.
It was you and Mason, man. Mason originally, and Mason came to us. He was like, "Mario, Tyrone, I'm talking to this guy. His last name is Goggins." And I'm like, "Do you happen to be related to David Goggins?" He was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "No shit. Are you serious?" Hey, Trunis, he lost his mind, man, when he figured out that was really the case. He was trying to put two and two together, but he wasn't sure, man. But how is you guys' relationship now, these days?
We're very tight. We're very tight. It was a time. I mean, if you guys read the book, our parents separated, and the funny thing is when our parents separated, so did we. And we went for a long time. I stayed in Buffalo with my dad. He went to Indiana. He went to a small town about 70 miles from where you guys called Brazil, Indiana, and we kind of we grew apart.
I'm sorry,
Go
Trunis.
ahead.
David came to Indiana. He lived here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he grew up. I mean, that's his home. He lived in Indiana. He lived in Indiana his entire almost his entire childhood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's crazy. So he lived in Brazil, Indiana. So how was that? So you weren't even really a part of his childhood, basically, because you guys split.
No, well, no, not really. I was okay. So when we my parents separated when I was 12. He was 8, I was 12. And I did come to Brazil for a while. So we were together for about 2 years.
Okay.
But I couldn't, I, no, I had to go back home. Right. And so I went back home to Buffalo and, I was just now entering high school at that time. And, teenagers. You got your own life, they got their own life, and you just, after a while, you just don't know each other. And as we grew up, I started making my decisions and having family, and this, that, and the other. He started making his decisions and having family, and once you have it, you could tell somebody, I got a brother out there, and then that was about it. And that was about it. I mean, it wasn't anything that, I didn't like him, he didn't like me. It was just like, I don't know. And that's how that happened.
It's kind of crazy that you say that too, but at the same time, I feel like you guys are like, obviously your family, you're so similar. Like just listening to the stuff that you push out, some of the stuff that he pushes out. I mean, you guys are similar in a lot of ways. Like, where did that come from? Was that just like both of your parents instilling that into you, and it kind of just showed through the both of you, or kind of where does that come from?
We come from a family. Well, this is an entrepreneur podcast. We
Yeah.
come from a family of entrepreneurs, and we have had. And one thing about entrepreneurs, the only way you could be an entrepreneur is through risk. Okay, and that's how we were. That's how we were raised. My grandfather had a third grade education, and our grandfather, my brother and I, had a third grade education. Lived in Anniston, Alabama, and this is during the Jim Crow time, when like people were like lynched for like just sneezing wrong. And so he did not want his family to live there. And so originally he wanted to go to Canada. So he went on a train, went up to Buffalo, and because he knew some people through the church in Buffalo. And if in history says, Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad and all that other stuff, that's the last stop, for freedom. And even though this is 1936, this is long after slavery. My grandfather, who never left the town of Anniston, got on a freight train, literally was a hobo, and took a train to Buffalo. Did not even know how to read. Took a train to Buffalo, went up there, found out that, there is a good life up here in Buffalo. And he ended up going back, and he had, my father was 2 at the time. He ended up sending back home and getting his family to come back up to Buffalo. They took a train. They didn't go on a freight train there. They went on a regular passenger train, and the church paid their way to come back up, to come up there. And then he had his life. But that was a major risk.
Absolutely.
So that instilled in my father about taking risks. Now, on my mother's side of the family, I had the same thing. My grandfather, my mother's father, was also an entrepreneur, and the only reason why he stopped being an entrepreneur is because World War II started, and he couldn't find anybody to work, because they all had to go to war. And so what he did at the old age, and I'm saying this old, I'm 53, so I could say this, at the old age of 30, at the old age of 55, 35, he went and joined the military and actually went into World War II. And the reason why he did that is because he didn't have any, he was one of the older people that were actually fighting in World War II. And so he went. But so the reason why we sound similar is because even like my grandfathers on both sides, they're all about risk. And they're also, the other thing is, they're old school. So you got our father was born in 1934. So it was like, if you hurt yourself, you got to get up. And so, and if you get hurt, too bad. Don't cry. Wipe it up. Keep on going. Cry. Go. My father used to say, if you got to cry, go somewhere and sit in a corner by yourself, and then come back when you wipe your tears off. That's what he'd tell you. And so he told that to us. And then if I went to my grandfather, my mother's father, who really couldn't stand my father, to be honest with you, right? It didn't matter, because they would say the same thing. So we weren't running away from anything. But my father he was a massive entrepreneur. He went out. He had a 10th grade education, and he started driving Coca-Cola trucks. So he started back in Buffalo driving Coca-Cola trucks. And back then, for distributors, you can actually, instead of just having a route, you could buy a truck. So what he did was, he was on his truck, got his first truck, bought one truck. Then he hired one of his boys back on the east side of Buffalo, and they got a truck. So he had 2 trucks, but he was paying, like subleasing the other truck. By the time it all got done, he owned 4 trucks. And then from the 4 trucks, because he, like I said, he was hustling, 10th grade education, he had this one stop that he made that was a skating rink. And so the guy says, I want to get out of the skating rink business. My dad's like, because he was delivering, he was delivering Coca-Cola to the skating rink, for the concessions. He says, I'll buy your skating rink. So my dad bought a skating rink. And so he bought the skating rink, right? And so then what he did was he didn't like the building because the building was too small. You can't have that many people in the skating rink. So then he went down the street. It was Ferry in Maine, in Buffalo, and there was a place called Kaufman's Bakery, and it was it was one of the most popular bakeries in Buffalo. They made fresh bread, they made donuts, they made all this stuff, and it was a factory, and they supplied a lot of the bread for grocery stores, but they were growing, and they put the building up for sale, and that building was huge. So he said, you know what, I'm going to buy that building and then I'm going to close this building and sell the building that he had. And so he sold that building. Now, this is what my father did. The building had upstairs, downstairs. It also had a kitchen in it. So, a lot of blacks back in Buffalo at the time, they had like, I don't want to call them speakeasies, but the clubs were a little different. You wanted to go in, you wanted to dress real nice, you wanted to go to a club, you wanted to have a restaurant, you wanted to sit down, have your drinks, you wanted to dance a little and stuff like that. So my father opened up a club. So downstairs was a skating rink, upstairs was a club. So story gets better, right? This is how my father grew as an entrepreneur. Then one day, this man came up to my dad and said, "Hey, I'm a musician. I just got back to the United States because he ran away from the Vietnam War." Right? He says, I can come back to the United States. He ended up doing some time, just a little bit of time for desertion, but he came back to Buffalo because that's where he was originally from. He said, while I was in the joint, I learned how to play music. I learned how to write music. I wrote a lot of music. I wrote a lot of music on my own. Can I come sing here? Right? No one else is letting me sing in their place because it wasn't cool, because they don't like my music. So my father's like, let me listen to you. So he listened to him. He was sitting there auditioning him a little bit. He says, you sound real good. How about you come into my joint and you play some music for us, right? And that man started playing. And my dad said, I could probably make a lot of money off this man, right? So he had a connection. He had a big connection that was with Motown and Gordy Music. And so my dad went up to this guy and said, hey, I got this kid. His name is Rick James. Can he please come? And can we sign this guy? Can you get this guy?
Kidding me.
I'm not kidding you. So can you sign this guy and maybe make a little bit of money? So my father always found ways to make money.
You're fired.
My father, yeah. As a matter of fact, Rick James's sister is still very, very close to my family. And she still lives in Buffalo. I talk to her as often as I can. So I mean, that's how it went. But that's how his entrepreneur stuff goes. Because he never, if you notice, he went from Coca-Cola trucks to Rick
skating
James,
rink to Rick James.
And so whenever he found something, that's what he did. And so that was instilled. Like my brother, he's Navy. I'm Navy. I wasn't in the Navy as long as he was, but my brother always. But what did my brother do? My brother says, "Okay, I want to start out." He started out as a pararescue in the Air Force. Right. All right, I've done that. I've hit that success. Now let me go be a SEAL. I've done that. I hit that success. Now let me go be a Ranger. He is the only person in military history to graduate each of those schools.
It's because people that start there never try to go to that next level.
No, they don't want to hit that next level.
Yeah.
And so again, that is something where, our father, a lot of people say, oh my gosh, you push these kids too hard. No, it's not about pushing. It's about, what entrepreneurs must do is they must push themselves.
Past failure.
You got to.
What is it about that mind? What is it about that mindset though? So let me just kind of unpack this because this is a lot. This is crazy. Your dad found Rick James, crazy entrepreneur, found success in pretty much everything that he touched, seemed like. But you guys didn't like fully grow up with him though, right?
Oh, I did. I grew up with him the whole time. Yeah, I graduated high school. I lived with him. And yeah, we did grow up together. My brother did not.
But what is it about that mindset, I guess, that allowed, what do you think, like, if you kind of had to boil it down to some of the intangible ingredients, Shunis, right? Like things that, because our channel, they want to hear the process, right? Like how do you wait? It's one thing to say, hey, motivate yourself. It's another thing to actually do it.
Right.
It is another thing to actually do it, but that mindset is you have to do it for yourself. You always have to, if you want to push yourself, if you want to challenge yourself, okay, and that's the thing. It's like with and going back to my brother. My brother wants to challenge himself and do something else. Me, I had a great job. I was living in. I was at Ivy Tech. I was a part of the chancellor's cabinet. I had good money. I could do whatever I wanted. What did I do? This isn't. I'm not challenged. I'm not challenged. So what did I do? I said, you know what? I'm gonna break it down and start from scratch. What do I want to do? I want to write books. I want to consult people. And this has turned into a situation now where not only do I write books on my own, I help now in 1 year short time. I went and said, you know what? I can help other people write books and help them market books and help them go. And now we went from the 4 P's of you, one book. I got a book coming out again on November 1st. I have a whole series. I signed a contract for 10 books to come out. Whole series of books between now
Jeez.
and 2026.
That's
But
why
what
you've
it
been all
was,
overseas and stuff. They've been having you
yeah, it's
overseas and stuff. You
killing me,
can't
man.
even
I
get
don't
back
know,
in the
man.
US barely.
I don't know what's going on with my but what that is, it's a challenge. It's if you go and you challenge yourself, and that's the special thing. That's the difference. It is a mindset. That's the thing about you two. You two are entrepreneurs. You
Mm-hmm.
two are young entrepreneurs. Right now, you guys are doing. You guys are in one venture, and one day you two are going to sit down and say, okay, we've mastered this venture. We've mastered this. This is boring. Let's go do something else. No, I'm serious. You're going to get to that point. You guys are young right now. I'm very impressed with both of you. You guys are
Thank you.
so what's going to happen with you two is you guys are going to sit there after you have mastered your craft. And pretty soon we're going to see you doing something else. If you think about it, look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk, I'm going to make a car.
Yo, what up, Moguls? This episode is brought to you by XG Groom Room.
Man, shout out to our sponsors, the XG Groom Room. Make sure you definitely go check out their new beard butter. It's going to get your beard right, man. If you ever seen Drew, one of the owners here, if you ever seen his beard, you better get you some beard butter from XG Groom Room. Go check out his beard. Go check out their barbershop. Ohio Street in Indianapolis, Indiana. We appreciate our sponsors, XG Groom Room. Be sure to go check out the beard butter, A. Sappington.
And one other thing too, to get them waves right, real seasick. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
When you got your girl looking at your hair and she don't even know what's going on, she start to get dizzy. You know what I'm saying? Or you just put it in your beard. You get the beard like Ross, got you saying, oh. You know what I'm saying? That's what the beard. That's what the product could do. So make sure you go get it. Everything. The descriptions will be below in the bio. And shout out to our sponsors.
Well, I'm going to go ahead now and the hell with it. I'm going to say seriously. I'm going to go to space. And now what I'm going to do after I've made a car and I've made rockets and I just sent 4 civilians. This has never happened in ever. This is what we used to watch on like the Jetsons and stuff, man. We sent 4 people that don't know how to fly shit. We just flew them right up in the air and said, okay, have a good time up there. See you in about 5 days. They went up there yesterday. That was his idea. And now, you know what he said? I'm going to buy some social media stuff. So I'm going to buy X. So this is somebody who started making. Now I'm going to tell you right now. I'm talking real nice about Elon Musk, and I'm giving him a compliment. I don't know who drew that truck up because that was.
That's
I don't
one of them
know.
kindergarten. That's one of them kindergarten drawings that you do.
Exactly. But all entrepreneurs have that massive failure, and that's his. But see, those are the things that entrepreneurs are all about. Entrepreneurs have that mindset where they have to challenge themselves. If they're not challenging themselves, they're putting themselves in prison.
Correct.
And
But how do
that's the
you?
thing.
And not to cut you off, how do you feel
No.
like that? The hard part to me is how do we continue that today? Because the same type of mindset that you said that, hey, look, when I went to my dad, it was the same thing when I went to my grandfather that, hey, look, if you cry, just go over there and cry. And when you're done with that, come back. I feel like today's generation, the way things are today, where do we find that part at? Like that toughness, that, you know what, I got to get myself together. Instead of people always just saying, hey, let me scoot you. It's okay. It's okay. Like, where do we move forward? How do we move forward with that?
Okay, so I'm looking at you two right now. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You are today's generation. All right.
Correct.
I don't know. I'm looking at you guys. I bet you guys are what? Just cracking 30, 32, 33,
I'm
something like that.
33. Yeah.
All right, there you go. See, I'm really good at that, man. I should be at the. I should. My next job, I'm going to be a carnival guy, guessing like, give me $1, I guess your weight. There was something. I don't know if you guys ever. I'm going off on a tangent real quick, but did you guys ever see um, In Living Color?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
All right, homie, don't play that.
Yeah.
All right, so he had a stand. He had a carnival, and he
Yeah.
said $1. I'll guess your. He goes, I'll give you $1. Guess my girlfriend's weight. He goes, she's one fat bitch. But anyway, you got to see that. She's
That's
one
hilarious.
fat
Bro.
bitch. But you got to see that, homie. Don't play that. But anyway, the mindset, you guys have that mindset. You are today's generation. What's going to happen is there's going to be a point in time where there's going to be a point in time where people are going to find that need. It almost happened a couple of years ago with the pandemic, but it is going to happen where people are going to find they're going to find there's going to be a design. The reason why people in those older generations, think about the people who are the greatest generation. They went through the depression, then after that, they went through World War II, and then they came home to civil rights. So it was a messed up generation. So they got tough.
Right. They
Okay.
had to
Now,
low key come together, get
right.
tough. Yeah.
So now it got so tough. Then they handled their business. So a generation like mine, I'm from the '80s. So in the '80s, my generation, guess what? We didn't get it. We weren't as tough. We were tough because we learned from our parents. But then we raised you guys. And
Right.
we
Exactly.
were soft. We weren't
Right.
telling you guys, oh, this is gonna be bad. Why? Because we didn't even see bad. My
Right.
dad
Right.
made me see bad. I'll never
I'll
forget. I was
second that,
18.
man.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't second that one with my parents, but most parents.
most parents. And like I said, but look, because your parents weren't like that. Look at where you're at today. My kids right now. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Yeah.
I have 8 living children, and all of them are like, you know, dad has got a problem, because I push him, and I push him
Yeah.
real hard. I got one kid's about ready to be a PhD behind me
Mm-hmm.
pushing him. So that's what I mean by that. But
100%.
but yeah, that's where it is. But you guys are just phenomenal at what you do. I watch you guys, and you guys are just great at what you do, and
We
and I and
appreciate
I
that.
absolutely appreciate that.
Definitely
So
appreciate
talk to us about the 4P group and what you have going on with that currently as well.
The 4 Ps. It started out with hold on. Yeah, it started out with the book, The 4 Ps of Youth: Purpose, Planning, Passion, and Persistence. I got it right. And I wrote that book because what it is, those 4 Ps are the foundation of what you need to be successful. You need to have a purpose. The purpose has to belong to you. Then once you get that purpose, you have to be able to plan as much as you can. And then right after that, you have to have the passion. If it's your purpose and the purpose is truly yours, you're going to have the passion to do it. You're going to have the passion to stay up late. You're going to have the passion to do all these different things. And then also, because it's your purpose and because you have passion, when the things go bad, you're going to be able to be persistent and be able to overcome those obstacles. And then and like I said, it turned into a book. The book turned into a series, and the series turned into a business. And now I'm using this all over the place, actually putting together a program. We're going to be using the 4 Ps book to go into um, um, correctional facilities and teach people coming out what they have.
that's dope. Trying to about the back end of it real quick before we hop on. Like, where's the book at right now with like sales and just opportunities and things like that?
The book is doing fantastic right now, actually. Barnes and Noble has picked me up, and I'm actually doing a Barnes and Noble tour right now.
Sweet.
Chapters in Canada, which is the Canadian Barnes and Noble. They have me going up to Canada to do that. And then in Australia, I'm doing Abby's Books, which is like that's their big store. And I'm doing the same thing. I'll be in Australia in March, and I'm actually looking forward to that big time. So,
Wow.
but yeah, sales are doing well. You can get it on any online thing. If you want to go into the store, I do know in the Indianapolis area, they just put it on the shelves at Perry at the Crossing in Plainfield, at the Barnes and Noble there. It's downtown at Indy Reads. So it is growing. It is growing quite well.
Congratulations.
Love that. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Absolutely.
This was a great talk, and I have to jump off because I
Yeah,
have
we appreciate
another
you.
event. But I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate your time and effort, and continue to grow and continue to do the things that you guys do.
You guys too.
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.